Correctional officer statistics, duties, and the danger of the job. Please listen to a short clip from my most recent book, The Toughest Job, Correctional Officer USA. Thank you for tuning in. Statistics, risks, and correctional officer duties. I would like to share some of the correctional officer statistics available from different studies, as well as some of the many dangers our correctional officers face daily, based on my own experience and the experience of others. The following statistics vary ever so slightly among studies, but for the most part, these statistics are very close, taking into consideration changes for each decade and region to region. For example, in El Paso, Texas, where I was born, and Las Cruces, New Mexico, where I grew up, the correctional officers who work at the prisons are mostly Mexican American. As of most recent studies, I found data that indicates correctional officers are approximately 71.4% male, 28.6% female, and on the rise with female officers. Of those officers, we find that they are approximately 62% white, 21% black, 11% Hispanic, 1% Asian, and 5% unknown. Again, these percentages vary among different statistical data ever so slightly. The education level of a correctional officer is determined as follows. 63.9% have some college experience and 25% have a college degree. Of the 25% of officers who have a college degree, 19% have a bachelor's degree, 4.5% have a master's degree, and 1.5% have a PhD. The saddest statistic is that correctional officers have the second highest mortality rate of any occupation. Of all assaults committed in prisons or jails, 35.5% of them are inmates against staff members. Other types of assault include inmate against inmate and improper use of force by officers against inmates. Another sad statistic for correctional officers show that on average, a correctional officer will live 18 months after retirement and will have been assaulted at least twice in a 20 to 25-year career. The average age of death for a correctional officer is 58 years old. Although I know retired correctional officers who are now in their 70s and 80s, I believe it is all in the way you take care of yourself. Correctional officers also have a 39% higher suicide rate than any other occupation, as well as a higher divorce and substance abuse rate than the general public. Unfortunately, I have known and read about correctional officers who have committed suicide. Suicide is definitely an issue with this occupation, and everyone must learn that it is okay to come forward when you have troubles and ask for help. That is not being weak. That is being strong. Correctional officers are required to have a clean record with no history of crime before being considered for employment. They must have a minimum of a high school diploma, pass a background check, and complete a physical, which includes drug testing. They may also be asked to do a physical fitness test before hire, and some agencies require weapons qualification to be successful before hire. After being selected for employment, new recruits must attend the Correctional Officer Academy and successfully complete training in a vast number of areas. Anyone who does not successfully pass all areas of training must pack up and go home. The rigorous training includes defensive tactics, weapons qualification with a handgun and shotgun, use of restraint devices, inmate transport techniques, proper radio transmission, and emergency signals. A correctional officer also learns basic criminal law, ethics, report writing, how to deal with inmate manipulation, and tactics to handle crisis intervention issues such as suicidal inmates and first responder medical training, and many other areas of training. Officers are expected to perform life-saving measures on an inmate or fellow officer, such as CPR, which is also known as rescue breathing. This is to buy time for the person's life until medical personnel arrive. Officers must learn how to use the automated external defibrillator, AED, as well, which is a portable device that checks a heart rhythm and, if needed, can send an electronic shock to the heart to try and restore the heart's normal rhythm. Basic firefighting techniques are also taught and must be performed by the new recruits, to include knowing how to use a self-contained breathing apparatus and all the firefighting personnel protective equipment. After completing the academy, skill level training and testing is not over by a long shot. A state exam must be taken in many states, and a minimum score of 80% is required to pass. After passing the state exam, it is time to report to the jail or prison for on-the-job training and learning how to be a real correctional officer. From this point forward, it will be hands-on training inside the prison walls. It is time for real-life scenarios with real convicted felons, all of whom are ready to test out the new rookie to see if he or she is weak or strong. The first year of a rookie officer's life is all a learning experience and proving to the field training officers and supervisors that he or she can perform their duties with honor and not fall into any manipulation traps and cross over to the dark side. And while all this is going on, annual recertification training and testing for each officer must be completed to ensure everyone is up to date with both current and new standards of training. Cell extraction training, chemical agent training, taser training are all mandatory retraining areas, just like firearms and self-defense. If someone has told you being a correctional officer is an easy job, they have never tried it. I have seen many intelligent people fail in certain areas of the correctional officer training due to lack of common sense. Common sense and being able to think fast on your feet are two very necessary characteristics that a good correctional officer needs to survive the job. To add to the above statistics and list of rigid training all officers must endure is the fact that correctional officers find themselves under attack often on the job. Inmate assaults on staff is on the rise, and not only within the jail and prison walls, but correctional officers have been attacked on the streets while going home or transporting inmates to hospital or doctor visits. We must fight to protect our uniformed officers behind the walls and on the streets. Too many of our heroes are being killed on the job, and it must stop. Legislature must take action to prevent this from happening and reoccurring as it is right now. We may never stop it all, but we could sure help a lot. God bless our officers in uniform. Please stay safe, and please keep your head on a swivel and watch out for your fellow officers. Your family is waiting at home with big smiles, wanting to see you come through that door every day. Wear your uniforms proud, and thank you. Gary York, True Prison Story.